Gentlemen, first let me say congratulations to the three of you to making it this far. For the past 15 weeks, you have cultivated a dream. Two of you will have persevered, but will end up going home empty-handed. And only one will go on to become the WWE's next breakout star. Only one rookie will win NXT and earn a championship match live on pay-per-view.
The future is now.
All right, welcome back to Half K NXT. I say that because this is the season finale, so I don't want to say welcome back. Well, no, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But that's a unique intro enough for you to know that this is the season finale.
So Half K back A with the last day.
Yeah. Aw, that was really nice. And if you didn't already know, this is your boy, Notorious Nando, joined, as always, by...
Larry Knight. That's it.
Aw.
That's it, baby. It's just Larry Knight today.
Someone had mentioned that this is the year of stuff ending.
Yeah.
It's... What do you call it? The Infinity Gauntlet
Oh, yeah.
saga.
So we get, like, the ending of that saga in Marvel. And then we get the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And then Game of Thrones ends. Oh, you know what else is ending that don't nobody else care about? Arrow is ending.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they in the last season right now.
How many times has Cody Rhodes been on that show?
I stopped watching. I'm gonna catch up and watch the rest of the series, but I stopped watching and I had seen him twice. So
I wonder if he's gonna be like an Stephen
Amell?
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be a AEW kind of Undertaker figure.
Man, I hope so. Like, he's already got, 2 matches under his belt?
Yeah.
And, like, he trying.
Dude, the last one I saw him in, it was pretty good.
He tried, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort for sure, man.
Yeah.
So, hey, if he want to stay with it, he could get some... Hey, man, if Ronda Rousey could do it, how come he can't do it?
Yeah.
He ain't got to be great at it. We've seen worse, accomplish more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, David Arquette was the WCW champion, was the WCW champion.
If you didn't hear him.
David Arquette, like, he's still doing it now.
Granted,
big ups to him. But at the time, who's to say he was better than Stephen Amell now?
That's true. Very true. If only Stephen Amell had made Ready to Rumble back then.
Oh, you know what? A good thing he didn't make that because I want to like him. And he played Casey Jones in the most recent Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah. That's true.
Come on, man.
All right, shout out to him already.
Yes.
Alrighty, man. So I can't believe we are here already. The season finale of NXT Season 1. It felt like we just started this the other day, right?
You know, we did.
Yeah.
Like,
what you fans didn't know is we recorded all these 15 episodes in one day.
Boom. What's happening?
I would die in editing.
Yeah, like that'd be amazing. What you don't know is that he's really a software.
I try to channel my inner Predator sound effects.
Yes. Nice. I love it.
I'm still doing my morning free movies on demand
nice
trip, and my brother-in-law and I recently watched the latest Predator movie.
How was that?
It's pretty garbage.
What?
It is very garbage.
Is it like what kind of garbage? Is it that kind of garbage where you're like, oh my God, if I would have watched this in a movie, I would have hated it. But since I watched it at home, it's not that bad and it's kind of entertaining? Or it's like, oh my God, this is so bad. I'm glad I didn't watch it in the movie theater and I wish I didn't waste my time right now, garbage.
it's in between those. I
Oh
think.
my God.
It's definitely one of those things that I know I'm wasting my time as I'm watching it, but I can't turn it off.
Oh man, so it's one of those like, this movie is so trash. I could have gone without watching it, but I did.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Without spoiling it, I will say that, again, going back to this theme of having more of an appreciation for things once they age, I thought that the Predators movie, the one that came out in 2009-ish and 2010-ish, I thought that one was okay, but comparing that to this latest one, I would say that one is a masterpiece compared to the Predator.
Wow, because you know what? So peep this. I like that one.
I liked it too.
That one that came out back in the day, I thought that one was kind of dope.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't watch it in the theater. I watched it on like Stars or something at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is dope. Nice in-house watch.
Mhm.
So if you telling me that movie is like trash compared to that, wow.
Yeah. And that movie is it's probably 10 years old now. That movie, I'm not even joking, is probably has better visuals than this latest movie. I'm not even joking. Like, you can definitely tell that with this latest The Predator movie that they were just trying to rush this one out because the visuals are pretty garbage.
Is it supposed to set any, like, is it a new universe with like Predators setting up? Like, where's the logic behind rushing that movie out?
I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to hit the summer blockbuster season or something.
Maybe, yeah. Because that was like what that new Mummy movie was apparently very trash too.
Yeah. So I'm just letting you listeners know right now that if you have to go at one movie, definitely watch the original. but if you had to go between those two, I would say The Predators, plural, is a definitely better watch. So yeah.
Hey man, bad movie remake unappreciation. Like,
yeah.
F that.
Yeah.
Not with that.
None. Alrighty. So this is the season finale of NXT episode 15. And as a reminder, we will be taking a slight break, but that doesn't stop you from sending us any of your questions. So feel free to email us at halfkmail@gmail.com. We will still answer some questions when we come back for season 2. And yeah, we'll even respond to those on our Instagram stories as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them our way. All right, so let's get into the final episode of season 1. This is on June 1st, which is, the first of the month.
Wake up.
Wake up. At the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. So, just to recap, everybody, this is the season finale where the remaining rookies are David Otunga, Wade Barrett, and Justin Gabriel to find out who is the next, or who's going to be the next WWE breakout superstar. They do a video recap, and, I was going to say that the music that they use during this recap sounds a lot like the soundtrack from the movie The Rock, not the wrestler The Rock, but the movie The Rock. Just very
the one with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed it, but the music was super epic and very not patriotic, but just more of that action movie soundtrack.
You know what? I just remembered that it got my attention similar to the last episode. That I was just like, what was happening? I just couldn't kind of like take my eyes away from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we could have easily just watch this recap video and then do 15 episodes of recap instead.
Ooh, man, boom.
But yeah, very well done. And that will go into my scoring at the end with production, because they did a really good job of doing this video package of summing up the whole season pretty much. So
yeah, man, it was pretty intense. Like I kind of wasn't paying attention to it. I was like, oh yeah, they're just starting up the little video package, and then it was just real long, and I looked up and was like, it was just going down, because then I heard like all the different quotes that different guys was giving, and I was like, oh man, my heart. I just heard some of that.
yeah.
Oh, the feels. So it was very well done. It got my attention. It captured my heart and spirit. I mean, it might be an overstatement, but it got my attention.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to television's hottest new show.
It don't work like that around here.
This is the future.
What a move by Gabriel!
This is unique. This is NXT.
I have more personality in my little finger than you have in your whole being.
Go back to the minor league.
I want it more than you. I want it more than you. And I threw it.
Success
Heath Slater has pinned Chris Jericho.
or failure is determined by a vote from these esteemed WWE pros.
And then we go to the video intro. So, kind of what I touched on the last episode. They didn't play the NXT intro in the last episode, and they started playing it here. And I was like, "Ooh, are they gonna show us who the pros and the rookies are?" But they didn't. They did a edited version of the intro because, in case if you didn't listen to the last episode or catching up, our boy Carlito was actually released around this time 2 weeks ago in 2010. So they didn't show the intro last week, and this week they just skipped it and edited it completely just to not remind you who Carlito was. So yeah, kind of weird because as we go on with this episode, then they do a weird thing where they still kind of highlight Michael Tarver, and that's just going to keep getting people more questions to ask. You know what I mean?
It's like, oh man, Michael Tarver, who was his bro?
Yeah.
About that. So this dude Tarver got eliminated, right? And it just so happened his pro did too.
But for real,
From, like employment though, like and it wasn't cool.
Definitely was not cool.
Yeah, but what if he spat like the apple in somebody's face on the way out? What? Boom! That's not cool. It's like that's why you're getting fired, bro. Among other things,
you're living that half K life.
It's like, come on, man. It's gross.
But I will give WWE props because kind of how we mentioned they taped these after SmackDown, and they had a really big crowd still for this season. So I guess it worked. These fans were really invested into the NXT season that they stuck around to find out who was going to win the whole thing, you know?
Maybe it was just like, hey man, that Justin Gabriel guy does that 450, man. We just always stick around for that because it's cool.
Yeah.
That would have got me probably.
So we start off and Stryker welcomes the 5 eliminated rookies. And yeah, just a quick recap. It was kind of funny that they were sitting ringside in the order that they got eliminated. So it was Michael Tarver, Daniel Bryan, Skip Sheffield, Darren Young, and Heath Slater. And then Stryker introduces the pros to the stage. We get Jericho, Miz, Hardy, R-Truth, Regal, Christian, and CM Punk. Because as we mentioned, they were still making a big deal out of this, and I just don't know why they just didn't have all the pros in the stage already. That way people wouldn't have asked like, oh, how come there's only 7 versus the 8 rookies that they have? So yeah, they pretty much do it where the Thanos finger snap where Carlito doesn't exist.
Nope,
at all.
This is back in the day where social media hadn't really taken off.
Yeah.
So you could really insult people's intelligence.
Yeah,
by just like, hey, look, as long as we just don't show them or mention them,
yeah,
they'll forget.
Yeah. You mean you weren't following them on the WWE Universe page at that point?
Oh, unfortunately, and I was not using their download ringtone thing either. I have none of that, sir. But yeah, man, this is back when they still kind of had the veil over people's faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, but you know, if you were savvy kind of on the internet, you heard it enough stuff. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. But to the average kind of like schmuck, like the level of like, I guess, or number of smart marks was a lot lower.
Yeah.
Or it was like people were more quiet about it.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's a lot more vocal. Or you could get like a million people's different opinion on like social media by like just scrolling.
Yeah. I think that's the difference, and it's weird because how you just said now it's a lot more impactful where there's an opinion everywhere, and compared to this era where if I didn't look it up I wouldn't have remembered why Carlito was just like spontaneously gone. I would have thought he was recovering from an injury or whatever. But
I wouldn't even have thought about him.
Mhm.
Like, if he wasn't there, it was out of sight, out of mind. But
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
like, I mean, I don't even know, like, are we smart marks? I don't even know what that means.
yeah,
I'm not even gonna lie. I really don't even know what that means anymore. I'm
Yeah.
like, what is a smart mark? Is that like, you're a mark, bro. Like, I still mark out.
yeah.
Like,
I think even the guys in the industry are still pretty much marks and smarks, So
yeah, you gotta, I mean, I kind of feel like in a way you almost gotta be if you gonna have to like really appreciate it. Like,
yeah,
because if you you gotta mark out every now and then. You have to.
yeah,
That's what keeps you there to want to, either you want to mark out yourself or you want to create moments for people to mark out too.
mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? You live for the mark out. Like,
yeah. From there, we get the 3 finalists coming down, and I'll just remind everybody of their current record. Oh, I forgot to make a thing last week where when Slater got eliminated, he technically had still one of the better records. So still kind of weird how they did that elimination. But
hey, you know what? Sometimes in sports, the number 1 seed will get eliminated in the playoffs, and it just happens.
yeah.
You'd be like, oh man, y'all was hella good in the regular seasons. 14-0, easy,
Yeah.
knocked out. And you're like, what? Come on, man, y'all decided to lose now.
yeah.
And that's what happened to Slater, man.
Yeah.
He beat everybody. Had a couple losses, but just didn't make it in the playoffs, baby.
Yeah. And it's weird because they emphasized it a lot. I think I'm going back to your theory of like they just knew they got their season cut short by doing 15 episodes.
Dude, they had to.
Yeah.
Oh man, what do we? Oh crap.
Yeah, because based on how heavy they emphasized it at the beginning of the season, that the wins and losses will be counted more on the credibility of the victories. Slater had that because he beat 2 pros. So
Yeah, come on, baby.
Yeah.
Like he had definitely like the most difficult schedule.
yeah. So we have Wade Barrett, who is currently in number 1, and he is 7-5. Then David Otunga in second place, he is 6-4, and Justin Gabriel in third place at 7-3. Stryker says that tonight we will have 2 eliminations to crown the overall winner, and each rookie will have one last opportunity to prove themselves and impress the pros. And then Stryker goes into GM mode again and makes the triple threat match, which is incorrect because he calls it a triple threat match when in fact it is a 3-way elimination match.
Yeah, man, it got me confused. Like, 'cause when the match started, I heard him say it. It was like, oh, this is a 3-way elimination. I was like, well, I thought it was a triple threat.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the audience was even more confused because as we went through that match, then once, I'll say who won the first fall, I'm pretty sure that they thought that person had won. And they,
You know what?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I thought the match was done right there. But then I remember looking at my notes. I was like, I could have sworn this match was
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, not a good job, and probably something Stryker just either they didn't tell him the right info or he just messed up. And then after that, we kick back to Josh and Cole at the broadcast table. Pretty cool because they kind of hype up the importance of this episode, but they are now starting to go into promote mode for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
They say that that's the exciting announcement that they will have season 2 starting next week. And throughout the night, they will be introducing us to the pros and rookies. And at this point, they don't announce the pro, but we get the first rookie, who is the Army tank with a certain engine. What engine would that be?
With the Ferrari engine, people. Army tank with the Ferrari engine. Husky Harris.
Yes. My boy, Mr. Husky. I think that's what I'm just going to call him throughout next season is Mr. Husky.
I like that. It's professional, still ready. It's like a mullet, like
That's how we're going to describe him.
business in the front, party in the back.
Yeah.
Mr. Husky.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? He sure didn't have a pro introduced with him, huh?
No.
It was like, straight to the business.
Yeah.
Boom, he's coming.
Yeah.
Don't need no pro.
So I forgot to mention at the top of this podcast is that we will be dividing this into 2 parts. We'll be covering just the episode itself, the season finale, But we'll get into more of a overall recap of the whole season and kind of the aftermath of season 1 in our next episode, the part 2 to this. And we'll describe the video packages here, but we won't go into too much detail because we want to save that for season 2 and dive deeper into that. But we'll kind of give you just the overall recap of these videos and kind of just throw our 2 cents in there. So in this, and I liked it too because they're all roughly like 15 seconds long.
Yeah, they're super short.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. It was like literally like an elevator pitch to show you who these guys are. So
it was like, boom, here's what he looks like. Here's what he sounds like. Here's a couple of his moves. Done.
Yeah.
Next week, can't wait, begins season 2 of NXT, and throughout the night we will be introducing you to the pros and rookies for NXT season 2. Let's start right now and do so with a rookie, Husky Harris.
My name is Husky Harris. I am a third-generation superstar. Blackjack Mulligan is my grandfather, and my father, Mike Rotunda, the IRS man. I've just been waiting for someone to let me off the leash and let me go for a while, and then this is my opportunity. Let's go.
So it was kind of cool because afterwards then they showed the graphics of both the pro and the rookie, and I totally forgot who his pro was, but his favorite letters are AEW. So if that gives you a hint, then yes, Mr. Cody Rhodes himself. I totally I think we were talking about earlier how we kind of remember highlights of season 2, but I didn't remember at all who the pairings were. And
no, me neither.
Yeah.
I really just remember this fool's phrase.
Yeah.
He's the army tank with a Ferrari engine. And then I just remember just a couple of the other guys very vividly in certain episodes, or just actually one episode stands out in my head. And when we get to it, I'm going to call it out.
Yeah.
But it just totally stands in my head and I'll never forget it because I'm like, oh, this was season 2.
Yeah. And yeah, so that is our first rookie and pro pairing for season 2. Then we get the remaining pros rookie, or I should say the rookies pros walking down the ringside before we go into commercial break. After that, we come back and we get the Monday Night Delight himself.
I forgot all about
did
that.
too.
I thought he was going to say he was the Sultan of Sexy.
That's what
I was like waiting for that, but he said the Monday Night Delight. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
Mr. Morrison.
Yeah. John Morrison is coming to NXT as a pro, and he describes his rookie as being the tallest redwood tree around, but not the easiest to talk to. But he hopes he can break him out of that into season 2. And he introduces us to Eli Cottonwood.
And before you go on that, I'm going to tell you right now that I ran up on John Morrison one time in downtown San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Hella drunk. Like, it was just like, he had like this headband on it. I walked up on him. I was like, hey, man, that's a cool headband. And I was like, John Morrison?
Yeah.
And he's like, he kind of looked around like, oh, you recognize me? And I was like, yeah, man, you're a wrestler, right? You John Morrison, ain't you? And he's like, I was like, Johnny Nitro?
he forgot who he was.
He was like, he's like, yeah, man, you watch Lucha Underground? And I was like, in my head, I was like, no, I don't have that channel. But I was like, yeah. Because it was him and what's her name? Taya Valkyrie.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, whoa. But I was just like super thrown off because they were just walking around chilling. And I was like, whoa, Johnny Nitro out here.
Yeah.
Super random. He's like my height, but super buff.
Yeah.
Like,
what show was it? Was it APW or it was probably an APW show that we saw him at too, right?
Most recently?
Yeah,
we seen him at an APW show.
Yeah, I just remember he was in the backstage thing where he had come out because I think they were like looking for the stolen internet title or something like that, and he was like walking around just looking for it and stuff like that. I just remember seeing him at that show. So
John Morrison, man.
So in the video package, they of course get over the height, the massive height size that this Cottonwood guy is at. They bill him at 7'1". I looked it up, and yeah, he's legit 7 foot tall. So he looks like it. So
I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but I heard 7'1" at one point, and I heard 7'3" at another point.
Okay.
Maybe I was hearing things.
Yeah. And I thought it was a pretty cool shot of in the very beginning of the video package where they have like a crew member miking him up to kind of show the height difference.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty cool production shot there. And he kind of says that not only does he want to win season 2, he wants to create as much destruction as possible. So he's already kind of getting over that psychotic giant gimmick, which I thought was pretty cool. So
I'm not sold on psychotic giants. I feel like that don't make no sense in my brain. So I'm like, all right, are you Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Because a psychotic giant is just Frankenstein. You know, you're supposed to be that giant mad scientist, giant leader, giant quarterback. You don't have to be the one that's hitting everybody.
Yeah, that's true. I had here, I thought they were the perfect pairing because Eli, at least in this promo and his hairstyle, looked like if John Morrison had taken the rest of the ooze.
Blood, straight up.
He just looked like a bigger version of John Morrison.
He looked like Super Shredder John Morrison. Yeah, he did. Like, I was looking at him, I was like, there's something about him that looks very eerily similar to what I just saw before it.
Yeah.
Kind of like had the same hairstyle, and his face was kind of like John Morrison, like his head shape, but it's flat.
All he needed was the Morrison sunglasses, and that would have been it.
Oh, yeah, he could have been fucking Eli Morrison, man.
The last vial of ooze. He must have drank all of it. It's a super shredder.
I looked up the Super Shredder clip just to use for a soundbite, and I looked at the top comment for the Super Shredder video, and it said Super Shredder only lost because he tore his quad. Sorry, Nash, I had to go there.
That's why the doc fell on him.
Yeah. No. Damn YouTube comments. They always get me.
Sometimes that's the best part of the video.
Yeah. So then, we get the 3-way elimination, which is between the 3 rookies. As the match starts, then, Josh kind of tells the audience that it is elimination, but how we just mentioned, the live crowd doesn't really know that, and they'll get kind of confused as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
The rookies kind of start off by kicking and punching at each other, and it felt like they did. I will say it got better throughout the rest of the match, but I think they just didn't know how to work with each other in a triple threat / 3-way style of a match.
Mm-hmm.
They did look a little bit lost out there just trying to start the match. They didn't really click yet at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing it's just because they have more experience with either tag matches or just one-on-one at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of hard unless one person really is going to take that lead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for the person who's kind of supposed to be the one to lead to not be in there. So I feel like the really awkward moments were between Gabriel and Otunga.
Yeah.
They just kind of seemed out of sync. But whenever Barrett was in there with either of them, you could tell that he was kind of the one who was leading the match I think he might have been the most senior out of the 3. I'm not really too sure between him and Gabriel.
Yeah.
But I think Barrett was the most senior. So you kind of see him leading in certain spots a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So the match just kind of like flowed better whenever he was in the ring.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he was definitely the ringleader between the 3 of them in this match.
Yeah.
Otunga starts doing the uppercut punches on Barrett out of the ring, and then Gabriel kind of takes advantage of that. Gabriel then does like a really nice baseball slide, and I was like, I don't remember the last time I've seen a baseball slide, but it looked really good. And Cole asked Josh if he were a coach, who would he vote off first? Josh picks Gabriel because he says that he agrees with a lot of the pros, thinking that Gabriel is indeed a one-trick pony. And I asked myself, because I was looking it up, and I don't know if you know this, can ponies actually learn more than one trick? Because I legitimately don't know. And if anyone is more experienced with ponies, let me know. Then Cole does a good job of highlighting Gabriel's accomplishments so far, which I really like because we're narrowing it down between the last 3. So they kind of go over the fact that Gabriel had won a challenge before and also won immunity. And I was kind of saying that it would have been really cool. Again, this will now go into our It Makes Too Much Sense segment, that it would have been cool if Gabriel, during the season, if he had a lawyer with him, hint, hint, where they looked at the clause and it said that, he has immunity, but it doesn't specifically say when it expires. So it would have been pretty cool if he would have saved that till this episode,
Nice.
Yeah. But again, that's too much.
Yeah, it makes too much sense. Too much backstory. Like, we want people to think that far back. Come on, man.
Yeah.
They are all about the now.
Yeah. As the match keeps going, the commentators also keep plugging season 2, and they mention that there will be some changes happening in season 2. Jericho, as soon as they bring it up, then Jericho walks over and starts immediately yelling at at the commentators again. Josh kind of sells out Cole at this point, because as soon as Barrett goes over there, I had here that Josh was saying like, oh yeah, Cole's talking about something else. Like, he's not talking about Barrett. So he really just like sold his partner down the river.
Man.
So I thought it was pretty funny.
His $295 haircut. That was Chris Jericho screaming at us. He's, of course, at ringside.
He's talking about something else completely.
Talk about the winner now.
Now he's talking about Wade Barrett, his NXT rookie, who is ranked number 1 in the latest pros poll, that being Barrett. Nonetheless.
Then we get a really nice spot after where Barrett is going for a suplex on Otunga. And then out of nowhere, Gabriel does the top rope springboard sunset flip over to counter him for the attempted pin. I thought it looked really good. It was like really smooth throughout the whole thing. Josh then does a follow-up saying that Otunga did not attempt to break it up because it is a 3-way elimination match. So pretty good insight. But again, the crowd was probably wondering like, why wasn't he trying to break up the pinfall? You know what I mean? So finally, Cole gets to explain what is going to be different in season 2, that in season 2, the pros will determine 50% of the vote, and the fans will actually get the other 50% by voting on WWE.com. So pretty cool. I think they mention it later on in the episode, but at least like the home viewers get a kind of exclusive at that point of what the rules are going to be next season. Then there was a nice spot where Barrett is on the outside and Gabriel is running at Otunga inside the ring. Otunga reverses it and does a back body drop and goes over the top rope. But then Gabriel kind of in midair changes it where he makes it an offensive move instead and does a crossbody and lands on Barrett on the outside, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah. After a few back and forths, Gabriel sends or Barrett gets sent back to the outside. And while Otunga's down, Gabriel takes advantage and hits the 450 from the top rope and gets a huge pop from the crowd. But as Gabriel goes for the pin, then Barrett kind of grabs his legs and pulls him out to the outside. And then Barrett sneaks back into the ring and gets the pin on Otunga. And yeah, this is the part where the crowd is confused because they pop pretty hard for it. But they probably thought that Barrett had won the whole match. But then everyone was kind of confused, and the wrestlers kind of sold the expression that, what had just happened, but they were, I think it's that whole thing that no one knew that this was a 3-way elimination.
I think everybody was confused, but I'm going to play it off by saying that Barrett did that because he wanted to be the one to cover both men. At some point, he said, if I'm going to win, I'm taking out everybody. So he's being greedy with his accolades.
Yeah. So then we get a close-up shots of both guys before we head into commercial break. As we come back, Barrett is still on the advantage and working on Gabriel's back with the abdominal stretch.
Yeah, see, this is what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because he did that abdominal stretch and he put his hands behind his back to give the perception that he was giving himself more leverage. But that literally doesn't make any sense. If you're like, like, if I'm like putting you in a move, and if I put my arms behind my back, I'm not really going to get too much more torque out of that. If anything, I might be throwing myself more off balance from restraining you.
Yeah.
So, like, that's one of those, like, wrestling logic things that you're just supposed to believe makes sense. It's kind of like when they put people in certain submission moves and then they'll reach out for their partner to, like, pull their arm to give them, like, leverage.
Yeah.
Certain moves don't even work that way. And they'll be like, oh, no, he's giving him more leverage. And it's like, nah, not really.
Yeah.
He's holding his hand, making it look like it. But from a wrestling science standpoint, by putting his arms behind his back and clasping his wrists, it gave him more of a pull to stand up straight to their wrench on poor Gabriel's abdominal muscles that he had been working on almost the whole season.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that when he was applying the whole move. But
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was like, ooh, this is good. I like it.
yeah. From there, then Josh and Cole do a great job of listing out Barrett and Gabriel's accomplishments as well. Then, after counting Barrett with a miss corner attack, Gabriel delivers his trademark kicks and hits a nice spinning heel kick.
Mm-hmm.
After that, he delivers a beautiful top rope crossbody for a close 2 count. The crowd is super into it after that move. And then Cole does a great job of selling the close call, making it, and he sells it really well by kind of having more urgency in his voice, which is really good because it's kind of a hard balance to do as a commentator, I feel, because you always want to make sure that each pinfall is important, but when it gets more narrow and later into the match, you do want to make the urgency feel a little bit more important.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like how Cole ends up doing that as the match goes on. So nice job done there. Then Gabriel hits the STO, setting up Barrett for his finisher. But when Gabriel goes to the top turnbuckle, Barrett counters it by lifting his knees. And yeah, Gabriel does a really good job of selling the counter. Both men are still on the ground. And then as Gabriel is selling the knee attack, Barrett just quickly kind of grabs him and rolls him up into a small package. And yeah, gets the victory at 10:03. So I was gonna give it a 3.5, but for this match itself, I ended up giving it a 4 because I really liked the last sequence, and I thought they did a good job of working together compared to the first half of the match. You know what I mean?
I did the same. I think it did.
Yeah.
I was actually really entertained by that match.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it afterwards. I was like, under all logical forms of sense, Wade Barrett took the most out of that landing.
Yeah.
And that probably should have hurt him more because that's not a good position to be landed on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you got into a car accident like that, it wouldn't feel good. But no, I really enjoyed watching Barrett and Gabriel between the ropes with each other.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. Like I was just sitting there like, wow, you know what? I feel like I underappreciated how good you guys were between the ropes. And if this is the last match of the season,
yeah,
I'm happy with this. It was like, when I was watching it was probably a bit more dramatic in my head than it needed to be, but I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, I was really going back and forth of giving it a 3.5 or a 4, but yeah, that last sequence, they just really had good chemistry with each other. So.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure.
So after that, then we get the huddle for the pros to kind of do their second to last voting. Also a good job because then you're kind of stuck on how they're going to vote because Barrett ended up winning. So it really is narrowing it down between Gabriel and Otunga.
Mm-hmm.
And since both guys lost, like it's hard to really gauge on who they're going to vote for at that point. So I thought it was pretty good. Then we get Josh to introduce the next pro for season 2. And yeah, he sends it back and it's MVP, which was interesting because at the beginning of this season, they had MVP listed as being the pro to Skip Sheffield. And then because they were advertising this on the last ECW episode. And then, yeah, at the very last minute, they ended up switching him with William Regal. So
maybe he got hurt.
Maybe he did. Yeah. Maybe he just kind of had an injury before this season.
Yeah, I can see that being a possibility with wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
You hurt all the time.
Yeah. So, well, at least now he gets to be a pro for season 2. Then he says that, it's kind of funny, he says that his rookie is from South Beach, but not Miami. And that he's a party boy, but he's not the party boy. Mm-hmm. So, of course, it's not our boy, Darren Young. So,
nah, man, it's cool.
Then we get Percy Watson. So we get his video package. And in this one, he has a very flamboyant personality. And I'll get more into his history on season 2, but
maybe that's just a Florida thing, man. Like,
oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Super lavish, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what? MVP from Florida, quote unquote? Yeah, he's a flamboyant fly dude.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Razor Ramon was flamboyant. He was from Florida.
Yeah.
The Macho Man Randy Savage
my
was
God.
built from Florida, Sarasota, Florida. Dude, Florida people are just crazy.
Now this makes more sense.
Florida, man, it's that swamp water, bud. Like,
now we have another stable.
the Florida people, and they all kind of crazy.
But yeah, I'll get more into Percy Watson with season 2, but he recently just left the commentator spot on NXT and has been replaced by Beth Phoenix. But more on that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to commercial break, and yeah, they're just kind of slinging all these promos out one by one to kind of cover the show. I liked it because it is doing a good balance of building up the importance of the season finale, but also making sure that the viewers stick in for the next season. Zack Ryder introduces Titus O'Neil. He doesn't want to list out his rookie's accomplishments because he wants to teach his rookie how to dress and pick up the ladies. So a really good dynamic between both this pairing, which I think will be pretty interesting. And yeah, I'll be honest, I remember Titus O'Neil being on NXT, but I forgot that he was on season 2. I thought he was on the season 4 or Redemption. I totally forgot that he was on season 2.
I think he came back for Redemption.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. Yeah, like you just said, I didn't know that he debuted in season 2. I thought he came later.
Me too. So that's why I was more surprised by watching these promos, because I was like, oh, that's
you were here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And yeah, after that, then we finally get the pros poll for narrowing it down from 3 rookies to 2. Stryker wants to talk to the folks who know the 3 rookies best, so he goes over to the eliminated rookies. He starts off with Tarver and he asks him, pretty much, who would you vote for if you could still vote for someone to be eliminated? And it was funny because he still said me. Like, he still said
Michael Tarver, man.
Yeah.
I would vote for me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was his family sitting around them too, because they all had little silver chains him. So I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't have a pro anymore, so he's got to have someone to lean on. Poor Tarver. Then Stryker goes up to Brian, but he asks him the opposite. He asks him who he thinks should win NXT and why. He's pretty honest and says that, Otunga can't wrestle, and sadly, Gabriel can't talk. So by default, he picks Barrett. I'm kind of surprised by this in general, because it seemed like they kind of cold turkey cut off this feud between Brian and Michael Cole, because they don't really bring it up if you notice. So Brian was pretty much just sticking to the storyline of the NXT show, but it felt like they didn't want to address him and Michael Cole. And same thing, Cole, I thought would have said something while
ripped him a little bit.
Yeah, but nothing. So
they had a lot to fill with this episode. Like, there's a lot of video packages, so I don't think they had enough room really to waste time on that. Not saying that it would have been a waste of time. Just they didn't have the extra minutes or seconds.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah, it'd have been too overwhelming as a watcher for an hour.
That's true. Good point. So then Stryker goes to Skip next and asks him the same question. It's pretty funny because it looked like Skip was going to say something, because he kind of looked around, and then he literally just said, I don't care. And that's
don't care.
And that's just sat back down. So thanks, Skip.
Are you just over here trying to hang out with Michael Tarver's family?
Yeah. Then Darren Young is next, and I love this because he says that he was initially built to kind of go off against Wade Barrett, but then all of a sudden he does like a 180 and starts cheering for Barrett and is on his side. And I liked it because the last time that we saw Darren Young, he was being super babyface.
And he got booed.
Yeah. So I like this because he turned on the fans, but technically the fans turned on him first.
This is true.
Yeah, so I really liked it because I was like, nope, I'm 100% behind Darren Young on this, because the last time he was trying to be a nice guy, you idiots literally were the ones that booed him. So I gave him props. And
A+ for continuity there from Mr. Young.
Yeah, so yeah, And it's pretty funny because he openly like claps for Barrett, and even though that he was just feuding with him before he got eliminated, but that's how much the fans can be jerks sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Young, please stand up. Who should win NXT and why, buddy?
My money's on Wade Barrett. He's built for this mentally, he's built for this physically, and he's gonna prove each and every one of you people in Dallas, Texas that are a bunch of haters wrong.
And then last but not least, we get the one-man rock band himself, Slater Gator. Slater says that unfortunately he has to agree and say that based on Barrett's performance tonight, he thinks that he will probably be the winner of NXT. And I liked it because, he kept it real. He knew to respect the game and give Barrett his props, even though that, they're not on the same page. So
yeah, no, everybody did a good job. It seems like everybody's being pretty 100%. I mean, even Tara was being 100%. He don't like none of them.
Yeah.
He likes himself.
Yeah. So here we go. Then we go from 3 to 2, and Wade Barrett remains at number 1. So then Otunga and Gabriel step forward. And pretty much Otunga stays in second place, and Gabriel has been eliminated in third place.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd boos. So that's how Gabriel is pretty much over at this point.
Yeah, he's the flippy guy. You can never hate the flippy guy. Who hates a flippy guy?
Mm-hmm.
There's no flippy guy that has ever been unliked in any company ever.
Yeah.
Even the bummiest flippy guy, Billy Kidman, was over.
Oh yeah.
All he had to do was that shooting star. It was like, whoa, that's dope.
Yeah.
I don't care how homeless you look.
Before or after the flock gimmick?
Either or, man. Because even after the flock, he was still dressing homeless.
Yeah.
He just hung out with Rey Mysterio after that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was a filthy animal.
So yeah, he was still.
See, art and life are too close sometimes.
I'm learning too much about the past.
Telling you, bro.
Consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that, kind of how you mentioned that Gabriel was still nonchalant with his promo, but I think he did a really good promo here because he genuinely looked a little bit disappointed with the decision. So
He's like he's about to cry.
Yeah. So
I felt bad.
Yeah. As a viewer, like it's the same thing whenever he couldn't cut a promo, I felt honestly bad because I was like, "Aw."
It's like, man, that's not even what you're here for, bro. You just want to flip for us,
yeah,
bro.
You just let him flip for us. Man.
Yeah, that's it, man. You want to talk? All this talking? When we talking about practice, like,
Yeah.
I want none of that.
But yeah, kind of the thing I was mentioning before, it would have been cool, but it makes too much sense where, say, if they eliminated him, but then all of a sudden he, this of course is more on Gabriel, or if he had the mic work to have more confidence on the mic, that he would have said like, no, actually, I just talked to my lawyer and that I can use my immunity whenever I want, and just cashes it in there. And then Otunga would be eliminated. That would have been dope.
Yeah, that would have been pretty crazy.
Because then at that point, it would have been a lawyer screwing over another lawyer. So.
That's too much going on, bro. It makes too much sense. It's too convoluted, and nobody's thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
We would have caught that. Oh, man, that's crazy. The lawyer screwing over another lawyer. Oh, wow. And he did have immunity. We were just talking about it. Wow. But then, like, that would never happen because it's like, yeah, F that immunity stuff. F him. F Barrett's theme music. F all.
Everything.
Whatever. Anything that they were working up to, once these eliminations start, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
The writers probably would have been like, if we had episode 19, that would have gone down.
I had it right here. You see my script for episode 19. We got canned at 15.
Terrible. Gabriel, I like how, Hardy met him up halfway through, and then it was cool. He gave him a hug and was saying that he was similar to Matt himself, where he will not die, and this will not be the last time that you'll see him. So
he really put himself over, but it was nice, I guess.
Yeah. So after that, we get another backstage promo, and it is Lay Cool introducing our next rookie. I had forgot about them being the champions at this point. I remember that they had that whole co-women's championship.
Yeah, didn't they have one that was broke, right?
Yeah, where it was. It's kind of cool because both of them would have half of the belt.
Yeah.
But I forgot that this was the era that they were teaming together.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, we get our Daniel Bryan for next season in Caval. And Caval, same thing, when they had said his name, I had no clue who they were talking about when I first watched this back in the day. And then as soon as they started showing the video package, I was like, oh, it's Loki.
And I was like, oh, that's that Senshi dude from TNA.
Yeah.
I love that guy as a wrestler. I was like, yo, this is like my favorite dude on the indie scene right now. Wow.
Yeah. I remember watching him on random episodes of Shotgun Saturday Night and I think Sunday Night Heat before this. So yeah, I remember him as Loki there. And then once he was on TNA for a bit, then that's where I really appreciated his matches a lot.
Yeah,
more.
when he was with Triple X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Loki was raw, man.
He had really good matches with what's his face, Kazarian and Jerry Lynn in TNA.
Yep.
They were really, really good.
Dude, Loki was tight.
Yeah.
He was just not well liked.
I was disappointed because, I mean, the name's not that bad, but I think this was the point before WWE was letting some of these guys kind of continue with their independent name. And yeah, it just threw me off of like, oh, who the hell is Caval?
It doesn't even roll off the tongue well.
Yeah.
I was like, Caval. Ugh. Yeah, it's like, I think it was supposed to be like something for Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, it didn't roll off the tongue. And then like, his voice is disgusting because like he's probably billed it like maybe 5'9", 5'10". He's probably really like 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
And like he just looks like a nice little dude, but then he starts talking and it sounds like, you know, like he should have did the voice for the bad guy and for Voldemort from Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like Caval has such a sinister voice. And you know, we'll talk about this more at the beginning of season 2, but for this little 15 seconds, and he spoke for maybe 3 of them, it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's like cool. Your first ever female pros for NXT season 2.
Yay! Girl power! And our rookie?
Yeah, we don't know much about him.
Except he's competed all over the world. That's amazing.
It's amazing. And he's so teeny tiny.
And
he'll love us.
And if he doesn't?
Well, at least he can carry our titles for us.
Wow.
Well, here's Caval.
My name is Caval, and I'm from the greatest city on earth, Brooklyn, New York. I'm usually the underdog, simply because I'm outmatched in size, but I'm not afraid of who's in the ring across from me. Doesn't matter how big or how tough, I'm gonna fight them tooth and nail until the end.
Then we get a graphic before we go to commercial break highlighting that the pros still have to do the final vote. And again, I don't know why they kept highlighting that in the graphic that they show all 7 pros with their name. Because as a viewer, automatically I'm going to be like, where the hell is the 8th guy? And where the hell is Carlito? So I don't know. They could have had the easiest job ever of like really erasing him, but they chose not to. So
maybe he did graphic design for them. And you know what? They were really at a pinch. Like, hey, who was doing the graphics? Carlito. Oh, damn it. What do you mean? Oh my God.
We couldn't have hired one intern to make the switch.
And this is before everybody learned that YouTube could teach you everything.
Yeah.
Maybe Carlito was that first dude that knew that YouTube would teach you everything. It's like, I can do the graphics for you.
Yeah.
And he just did them. And they was like, oh yeah, this is great. We don't have to pay him anymore. Still saving money for that pyro. Cheaping out on graphic design.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So we go to commercial, and once we come back, then we get the world's strongest man. And he introduces us to his rookie, which is Lucky Cannon. And I don't know who he is, honestly.
Me neither, but I love him. Just looking at him, I was like, I like the way he looked. He tall, and he just remind me of damn, who did he remind me of? He reminded me of this. Like now, he reminds me of like a foot taller Adam Cole.
Oh yeah.
But like, I feel like at the time he just reminded me of like everybody from that. Dang, what was that? That group from WCW that had Sean O'Hare And,
Nacho. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He reminded me of like the personification of all those dudes, but just like in 2010.
Yeah.
So I was with that.
It's weird because I think the name sounds more heelish, Lucky Cannon. I don't know. That could just be me, but
I think it could be a dope heel name, but since he just looks so friendly, it worked for him. It's wow, you look like you could be a Lucky Cannon.
But yeah, I think if I didn't see him and just read the name, I would have been, that's a heel, right?
Yeah. You would have thought somebody kind of like menacing looking would have came out, but it's like, nope, it's me, Lucky Cannon.
Yeah. Or I would have thought more of like just like a pompous guy, like, oh yeah, I'm the luckiest guy in the planet.
Yeah,
that kind of gimmick.
But luck has nothing to do with my skills between these ropes.
Yeah,
with these hands.
Yeah, it's like a modern day Mr. Perfect. Or something.
Oh, they're gonna say Maharaja.
You know. So after that, we get what I labeled the final promo class.
Nice.
Between David Otunga and Barrett. Matt Stryker says that they have roughly 60 seconds each to kind of explain why the other guy should be eliminated and they should be crowned the winner. Otunga goes first and pretty much doesn't do a really good job because he's just kind of making fun of Barrett's facial features.
Hell yeah, he like rapped against him damn near, man. Some of that stuff was rhyming for a little bit. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Man, are you busting on him? But no, it was like he literally just sat there and dissed him, roasted him for like 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 60 seconds, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay, but based on the rules, all you were supposed to just say is like why you think they should be eliminated and why you should win. And he spent most of the time just dissing his face, you know?
He got exposed.
Mm-hmm.
His lack of mic skills there for sure.
Yeah. Then we get Barrett, and he kind of does the same thing where he kind of disses Otunga and his body and his talent. He did do a good line where he says like, yeah, I've seen the great Khali move around better than you. So
I know that was like one of the greatest insults I've ever heard.
Yeah. So the crowd popped for that one too. They were like, oh.
I was like, dang, dude, he just roasted a pro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Then, yeah, by that point, between the two heels, it seemed like the crowd was favoring Barrett after that.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it was kind of weird that the last two were two heels, by default, the crowd has to pick one or the other, you know? So.
The lesser of two evils.
Yeah. Then the pros huddle for their last voting, and we get a backstage promo, and we get the current WWE champion, Kofi Kingston. It was kind of cool because he labels himself as a WWE professional, which I thought was kind of cool, as opposed to just pro. And yeah, I forgot about his IC title run being this early because I think he had just debuted in 2008 or 2009. So good for him. He's already the IC.
Hey man, what people don't realize about like Kofi Kingston and CM Punk is that they won a lot of titles really fast.
Yeah,
like between the two of them, like maybe it took Kofi forever to get the WWE title, but he got no shortage of everything else in between really quickly.
Yeah. So he kind of goes over and says that, you know, his rookie is a Hall of Famer. And in the video package, before he does that, he does a really nice double pun. He's like, oh, we will be the perfect pairing. And Michael Cole was like, hopefully there's no trouble in paradise for these two and that they're the perfect pairing. So,
Gangster.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting because in the video package, same thing. They introduce him as Michael McGillicuddy, and he also says that he's third generation by stating his legacy and Mr. Perfect, of course. But in a weird way, they are kind of half K-ing this because not only Michael, but also Husky Harris, they're kind of trying to say that they want to break out into their own thing. Then why do they have a different last name? And at the same time, why even bring up the legacy if they want to stand out from their family legacy?
It's stupid because it's like, hey, so what? His dad is IRS, right?
Yeah. Husky.
So it's like, all right, your dad is Erwin R. Shyster.
Yeah.
Where did this Harris come from?
Yeah.
Like, your name should be Husky Shyster.
Yeah. And then he also says he actually says his real dad's name, Mike Rotunda.
Yeah.
But then he literally just calls himself Husky Harris.
Yeah, you should be Husky Rotunda.
Yeah.
Or if you didn't want to be in the shadow, don't say it at all.
Exactly.
Same thing with Michael McGillicuddy. Is like, yeah, you know what? My dad is Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, look, either you telling us your dad's name should have been Perfect or we already know he was Kurt Hennig.
Yeah.
You should be Michael Hennig.
Yeah.
Or Michael Perfect.
Yeah. But that's what I was kind of like,
McGillicuddy? Like,
yeah. Why give both rookies a different name? Like, I would have been fine even if one of them had like their real last name, but yeah. Kind of a nitpick there, but yeah.
I'm against it.
Yeah. So we get the last commercial break, and once we come back to the broadcast table, Josh and Cole kind of sum up the season 2 rules again about the fans having 50% of the vote this time. Then we go to the final pros poll. This is kind of interesting because we had 10 minutes left still in the show, and you can kind of tell that they had some time management where they were trying to fill up time. So as Stryker is about to announce the final voting, then Alex Riley kind of interrupts him. Sorry, The Miz. Sorry, I just spoiled it. They're so similar, so that's why I got them mixed up. So The Miz interrupts them and saying that The Miz is going to make a special announcement that he's going to be coming back for season 2. And he says that he's happy because he doesn't have to deal with someone like Daniel Bryan. And they kind of cut to Daniel Bryan at that point, his reaction. And yeah, he introduces Alex Riley, pretty much Miz Jr.
Yes.
Yeah. And Alex Riley in this video package says that they might as well rename it the Alex Riley and the Seven Dorks, which I might, use it as a show title. So
yeah, it's going to work. Mm-hmm.
Then after that, we cut back to the pros, and yeah, we have roughly 9 minutes left in this show. And I was like wondering, like, what else are they going to do? Just announce and then...
Oh, yeah, they just sat there and argued for like a hot minute. It was like, oh my God. And this fool Regal, like, he like destroyed Jennifer Hudson because he was like...
Oh my God.
He said something about like, he's only famous because of his wife. And then like by the looks of her, he didn't like, he doesn't have much of a wife at all. It's like something like that. I was like, what?
But it was random, and it was funny because Stryker was trying to hold back Otunga once he said it, but Otunga clearly didn't hear it because he didn't react.
Or maybe he was just like, nah, he ain't talking to me. Like,
yeah. Because he had that look where like when Stryker put his hand over his chest, he was more just concerned with like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you putting your hand on my chest for?
Yeah. So kind of mistiming. I'm pretty sure he just didn't hear Regal or didn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah, because he sure did burn his wife like that. I was like, whoa, that is uncalled for, sir.
Yeah. But I like this because Regal had, before he went on that tangent, he had said like, oh, I want to fight you. I want to fight R-Truth because, it's been X amount of weeks and I finally get like a live mic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can definitely tell that they were just really kind of freestyling.
Yeah, they were shooting because then he took off his jacket and everybody was kind of just looking at him crazy like, bro, what are you doing right now? Put that damn jacket back on.
And then at that point, Punk just has enough of everything too, and he just like walks away because he doesn't even want to deal with any of this going on.
See, like that would have been the perfect time for one of those dudes to have been super kick users.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Jericho. I'd just like to say you had the best man on the show. It's a shame he didn't have me for a mentor.
Whoa. Jericho ain't won nothing yet. Hold on there.
Listen, the only good thing your man's got going for him is that he married well, but I've seen his wife, so he didn't marry that well, did he?
That's true. The only reason he's here is because he's got a wife.
You shut up. You got a mask on. Be quiet.
Let's get on with it.
Wade, congratulations. I knew you'd win. Being a fellow Englishman, we're better than all of these pathetic people.
Would you just
so
put
I knew
a crumpet in your mouth and shut up, man? Won't you sit down?
Wade hasn't won yet.
What exactly are you going to do about it?
You know what? I can do a lot about it if that's what you want.
Please, make my day. I've had 15 weeks of being stuck on this show with not having a live microphone. Please, one of you do something to me. One of you, please.
I had here that I just really, as thrown together this segment was, I really liked it because it felt real, because they were real. They were just really like bickering with each other and just they were literally half K.
Quality scuffle right there.
Yeah. Very quality scuffle. 5 out of 5, as always.
Quality scuffles.
So yeah, here we go. The big moment finally after all this. Stryker finally gets the pros to quiet down after their scuffle, and they reveal the final poll. And yeah, Wade Barrett remains at number 1 and is your winner for NXT Season 1. It's kind of weird how they kept saying throughout this whole season that it's going to be the next breakout superstar. And finally in the graphic, it said Season 1 winner. So I was kind of confused throughout the whole thing. I'm like, how are they labeling them as the winner? Are they winner of the show? Are they winner of the season? Like, so it's finally good that they finally clarified it. And I think the commentators did a good job because once they revealed it, they didn't jump on it right away. So they kind of let the moment simmer a little bit. So that way you get the most reaction from the crowd and from Barrett himself, because he was super, super happy that he had won the whole thing. Then afterwards, we get just some post-poll interviews, and Stryker talks to Otunga first. He says that, you know, he can't believe this is real and that Ashton Kutcher must be around because he's getting punked. And yeah, he says that, don't worry, you haven't seen the last of him because he's come back from losing on another reality show, and that he'll be a bigger star in no time. Stryker goes to the winner and says that now he's guaranteed himself a WWE Championship shot at a future pay-per-view. Notice how they don't say of their choosing anymore, so kind of interesting. And yeah, I really like this promo by Barrett. Yeah, I really like how, you know, how he stayed in character throughout this promo too, where he said that with title shots, he'll also get more money. So it's really cool how he pretty much stayed very consistent through the whole season with his characters.
Tell the world about Wade Barrett. Congratulations.
Wow, Wade Barrett, WWE's next breakout star. That's got a real nice ring to it. But you know what? It isn't anything that I or my pro, Mr. Chris Jericho, didn't know from the very beginning. I told you from the start that I was the best on NXT and that I was going to win this competition. Well, guess what? I was right. And here's the deal. I didn't come to WWE or NXT for a pat on the back or to gain anyone's approval. I came here to make myself a lot of coin. And now I've got a pay-per-view title match, and that is going to bring the big bucks rolling in. But for the pros on that stage over there, I've got some really bad news for you, because this is the beginning of a brand new era in WWE. The era of Wade Barrett. And a few weeks ago, I told the world that the winds of change were blowing here in the WWE. Well, today, those winds stopped blowing, because change is here and change is now, and it is a change that is going to take Wade Barrett to the WWE heavyweight title.
And yeah, he puts Jericho over, and Jericho also comes into the ring to celebrate with him. And yeah, I like how they pretty much had the best relationship throughout the whole season of really helping each other get over at that point.
If this was the Attitude Era, somehow, some way, he would have got a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah.
There would have been beer everywhere and a Stone Cold Stunner. Even if Stone Cold didn't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
He would have found his way over there. The place would have been covered in beer.
Yeah.
And it just Stone Cold Stunners and middle fingers.
Yeah.
That's it.
It would have been where, just thinking about it, if NXT had happened in the Attitude Era, it would have been Stone Cold being paired up with like Kurt Angle or something. And then, yeah, Kurt Angle would have won that season. And then afterwards, like,
he'd have came in there and gave him a stunner, get it for a beer bath, and it'd have been a wrap, man. You know, like when I think about the old school days, I'm like, dang, man, you know that a lot of those episodes just ended in beer.
Yeah. For no reason.
No reason though. He was like, what did I just see? Beer everywhere.
I was listening to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and he makes a really good point where in the Hulkamania era, the way they would close out the show, or whether it be like a live show or a house show, they always said that Hogan must pose. So that was the way to make sure that the fans were happy. So in the Attitude Era, the equivalent to that was the
it's Austin Must Beer.
Yeah.
Austin Must Beer to close out the show, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of closing out shows, I think, you know, it was weird because, like, I remembered that Barrett won.
Yeah.
And then, like, even if I knew he was going to win, but then just, like, after a couple of weeks of watching it, you're like, if Heath Slater was the most well-rounded and kind of like the best at that aspect, the one that was the best in the show was Wade Barrett. Because like he was clearly like, when you saw him wrestle, it was like, ooh, look at this big dude. He's got size, he's got all this stuff, he's got skills. His finisher kind of sucks, but whatever. When he speaks, it's like, oh man, like he's got that thick accent, and he's got so much confidence. He's like, he's got Uzi. He's taller than everybody. So it's like, oh, you're clearly like the best one if you're looking at what WWE's looking for.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, you fit it better than everybody else here.
Yeah.
The one who's probably like, if I was gonna pick a WWE champion out of that group, it would have been Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
If I was gonna pick the boys champion, it was gonna be Heath Slater. So that's like, if you kind of just lined everybody up and looked at them, oddly enough, who became WWE champion of that group? Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So, never judge a book by its cover. But, but Wade was the one, and shout out to him. The only thing I didn't like, I guess, was like how everybody else was like, oh yeah, Wade's gonna win. So it was like,
yeah, I agree. I think at that point they could have done a better job of building the suspense.
Yeah, or maybe just not so much for this episode. Like maybe if they would have talked to the other guys in the episode before, or just like, just less. But it's like when you see them talk about like, hey, who do you think is gonna win? It's like, oh, that fool right there. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And then he won. It was like,
yeah. It would have been, like how I mentioned, it would have been cool to have either Otunga or Gabriel win that triple or that three-way match, but have it in a way where Barrett doesn't lose cleanly, but giving the advantage to one of the other two guys.
Yeah, to like kind of sell that illusion that it's more up for grabs. But the fact that Barrett not only won, but eliminated both of them, it was like, okay, well, everybody thinks you're going to win.
Yeah.
And now you're eliminating everybody.
Yeah.
You're probably going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I think that's the only aspect that you're completely right, that it took it out of it, because after that match, you're kind of like, well, what else can Otunga do to win at the very last second?
Yeah, it's like, what more do you want? But then again, it's like, if he didn't win after that, then it's like the biggest insult to wrestling fans' intelligence ever. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or should I go first with the...
I'll go with I'll start it up with my score.
Okay.
For me, the commentary was average.
Okay.
Nothing, like, now that I'm thinking about it and just kind of like what we went over, like nothing about the commentary jumped out to me that was like, oh man, this is great. They're really going all out for the last episode or anything like that. So that was a 3 for me.
Okay.
Matches, I really enjoyed that triple threat match.
Yeah.
I thought, it was kind of clunky with Otunga in there sometimes, but the sequences with Gabriel and Barrett, I thought were really good. So I went 4 for that one match. Production, I went 4.
Yeah.
Just because it was such a production heavy episode, and it kept enough, like it was nothing but video packages. So it kept enough of my attention to where I wanted to keep watching them. So that was enough to say that they went above the average.
Yeah.
And then I also went 4 for entertainment.
Nice.
Even though it was very promo heavy, but I think if I were to watch this episode in 2010, I would have been upset there was only one match.
Yeah.
And I would have been bored. But now, kind of like this being 9 years later, looking back was great.
Yeah.
And then looking back on the season that we just did, and how everything kind of came together, I really liked the entertainment factor of this episode. And for me, I thought it was a 4.
We're pretty much on the same page, other than commentary, where I just gave it a 4 because I think they did do a good job of selling the importance of it, and props to them too. Of course, I'll get to it in the production side, but props for Josh and Cole also to kind of sell the importance of it. Is a hard job of juggling between making tonight's episode important, but making sure that we're building anticipation to season 2. So I think they did a good enough job trying to tackle both things at the very last minute. So I gave him props for that and making it seem like tonight was important, but also, building up to season 2. The only negative I would say is just the weird reasoning of like kind of dropping the storyline between Cole and Daniel Bryan. But other than that, I think they did a really good job of selling the importance of tonight and just those little details of not talking, because WWE tends to do that a lot now, where if they do a reveal, then Cole and the rest of, or like Corey Graves, kind of jump on the thing and making it too obvious for the fans. Where they make us feel super dumb, like we're not watching the show with them. Where if they did the same thing now, they would have shown Barrett staying at number 1, and us as a fan can put 2 and 2 together that, oh, Barrett won. But then at that point, modern wrestling would say like, oh my God, Wade Barrett's the winner, blah, blah. Like, you don't need to say that right away. We can kind of, take in that moment a little bit more. And that's why I really appreciated those little details of that. Josh and Cole didn't automatically state the obvious. They kind of let the moment speak for itself. So I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Nice.
Then, for me, for matches, kind of how I mentioned, I was going to give it a 3.5, but kind of for the same reasons that you listed out, I did bump it to a 4. So agreed that even though it was one match, I think they did a really good job and closing out the season with a really good match. So, and for production, I also gave it a 4, where the same thing, that to kind of get these video packages ready and also making them really interesting for as short as they were, they did a really good job. And back to the overall season recap at the top of the show, they did a really good job of recapping the entire season so far to kind of catch anyone up that needed to catch up at that point. And I pretty much went 4s all around. I gave entertainment a 4 as well, where I was entertained throughout the whole thing, even though that it felt like they were trying to stretch the last 10 minutes. I enjoyed that scuffle between the pros, and then just the pacing overall of getting to the poll, getting through the video packages, and just they got me excited that I did really want to check out season 2. So job well done.
Oh, wowie zowie.
Yeah. Wowie zowie. And combined score, we are at a 3.9. So same as last week, which I think sounds about right,
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, it's going to be the same score, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or for like different reasons.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we broke that sucky every 5 episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because the last episode, according to our our every 5 rule, this episode should have actually been trash.
Yeah. So that does it for us on season 2. As I mentioned before, we are closing out the season for NXT, but we will do our own season finale for the part 2 of this episode, where we'll go more in depth with season 1 and kind of give our overall recap and analysis. And we'll also kind of recap the aftermath of season 1. And it's a pretty big aftermath, in case you didn't know. A certain group comes out of this. So we'll go into more depth on their debut, as well as, just a sneak preview of season 2 as well. So thank you so much for following us through with the season recap, or I should say for the entire season. We will, as I mentioned, do a part 2 for this, where we'll go more in depth. But in case if you want to follow us along instead for just the season coverage, we will be returning after a short hiatus, and we will be covering season 2 in a few weeks. And I can't wait, based on how the setup was with this episode, to dive back into season 2. What about you?
We're going to call this small hiatus the lightweight, slight weight.
The lightweight, heavyweight championship.
Nope, lightweight, slight weight.
Sweet. So that does it for us. And make sure to check out the part 2 of this episode for our coverage. And just wanted to kind of give you a reminder, if you wanted to send us a question, send it at halfkmail@gmail.com, and we'll answer some questions, and we'll save a few of them for season 2. And always plugging our parent company at growcanvasgrow.com. If you have any production needs, feel free to shoot them an email as well, and follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Did you have any shout outs?
I do. Shout out to Half K Podcast for finishing all the episodes in the season.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
Whoever those guys are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for checking us out. And yeah, if you are just listening for the first time, you have a bit of a break to catch up on us before we start season 2. So if you want to go through our archived episodes and catch up, you have more than enough time now. And yeah, feel free to recommend us to any of your wrestling friends as well. So that does it for us. Thanks again for listening, and we'll check you out on the next episode.